Approaching Roscoe. We're hearing on the scanner that the suspect may have knives accessible to him in the car. It's unclear if they were his or if they belong to the rightful owner of the vehicle, but we are hearing that the reporting person, which is likely the owner of the vehicle, says that there are knives inside of the car. If they are in the rear portion, he's unlikely going to be able to reach those as he's driving, so we'll hope for that as his pursuit continues here southbound on the 405 freeway. Oh, thank you, Derek. My pilot, Derek Bell, is telling me that the traffic will get a lot slower as we continue here southbound and make your way over to the west side. He just cut that driver off, so that guy's not going to be happy, but fortunately he didn't manage to hit him, so that's if there's any good news here, it's that he doesn't appear to have hit any other vehicle so far. He did, of course, assault a police officer with that vehicle at some point, so we believe he did use the vehicle in the course of that assault, and of course the car is stolen as well. Traffic is slowing down significantly, moving over to that first lane from the left. We're at Sherman Way. Basically at a complete stop here for him. He's straddling a couple of the lanes there, straddling that first and second lane, trying to make his way over to that second lane. So let's see what he's doing here. From what we've seen, just watching his movements for the past 15 minutes or so, he does not like to be in slow traffic. So what he may do is move over to that emergency lane again and take that to get past some of this slower traffic. But again, that could be very dangerous because if there are any cars that are broken down, he hit a vehicle there. Okay, my pilot, Derek Bell, observed that he did hit a vehicle there. Hopefully there are no injuries to that party, but he did hit a vehicle there as he was trying to maneuver his way around some of this slower traffic. Yeah, we're hearing CHP maybe trying to get behind the vehicle now. Now that the car is on freeways, CHP would be better suited to follow him. When we first picked this up, it was on surface streets. It was in LAPD's mission division, so it was LAPD who was in pursuit. They backed off, of course, but we still have the LAPD helicopter overhead. And now, there you go, using that emergency lane. And we don't want to see this because if a car is broken down, I mean, this guy could just plow right into them and like right there, he ran out of room. So what's he going to have to do? He's going to either have to merge back with the traffic, which it looks like that's what he's going to try to do. Yep, he's going to try to merge back with traffic. I mean, this guy stands out like a sore thumb. He's driving this huge vehicle, and then he's, using the emergency lane, cutting people off, hitting people. I mean, this guy is not being discreet by any means. CHP is now behind him. I'm hearing that from my pilot, Derek Bell, who's doing a great job at keeping us over the 405 freeway here at Van Owen. So you can see the CHP unit there at the top of your screen. We've got the suspect vehicle there in the center. CHP is being asked to take the lead. Guy continues to drive in the emergency lane. We've seen this guy back up into a patrol unit, so I don't know that the CHP officer is aware of that. So we would hope he would keep a little bit more distance, knowing what this guy is capable of, especially with a car that size, with a vehicle that size. It could cause quite a bit of damage. So hopefully that CHP officer can get notes from the LAPD department that was following him earlier and learn that this guy has actually tried to back up into a patrol unit. We know he's also wanted for assault on a peace officer, and for assault on a peace officer, and CHP is aware of that, so of course they're going to be extra careful. Continuing here on the shoulder of the freeway, 405 South at Victory. Oh, look, there he's doing it. He's backing up, backing up. That's so dangerous because the sheer size of this vehicle could hurt anyone, and we definitely don't want him to hurt any law enforcement personnel. But we've seen him do it. We've seen him do it twice. Okay, so it seems like he may be coming to a stop here. The CHP officer has his driver door open. He's signaling to the driver to stop. He's telling him, stop moving your car, stop. We have some of the other units that are just arriving here on scene. Southbound 405 at Van Owen. And the driver continues to move his vehicle. So he's not necessarily following the commands of the CHP personnel. He's still on a roll. He's still not moving. We're keeping a wide shot here, of course, just in case something happens that we don't want to see. We did see him stick his hand out the window there. We thought he was hopefully going to toss the keys out. That's typically what CHP or any other law enforcement agency in pursuit will ask you to do at the end of a pursuit. They'll typically have you throw the keys out first and then step out of the vehicle. It seemed like that's what he was doing when he stuck his hands out, but apparently not. He's deciding that he wants to continue this pursuit here on the southbound 405. He's southbound 405 approaching Victory, so that's going to be just north of the Sepulveda Dam area, so he's in the Van Nuys area. Continuing here on the southbound 405, I'm going to pull out so you can see this is a slow area. This is just typical slowing, and we see that he's straddling the exit lane there as well as the freeway. He may be looking to exit. If he does, this is going to be Victory Boulevard. This is going to put him just on the north side of the Sepulveda Dam recreational area, but it's unclear what this guy wants to do right now. He's still straddling that lane. CHP officers are getting into place in case he decides to give up. Ideally, they would probably not want this to end right here where there's so many people around the suspect vehicle, but of course they want this to end. So if this is where the guy decides that this is where he wants to end, then this is where it will end. CHP will try to get some of these other vehicles out of the way, out of crossfire, just in case something happens. But for now, this guy is straddling the exit lane there for Victory Boulevard on the southbound 405. Again, for those of you just joining us, this is a stolen vehicle suspect, Grand Theft Auto to be exact, and he also is wanted for assault on a peace officer. It's not exactly clear. Ooh, okay, there you go. He's deciding he wants to exit. He's going to exit at Victory. He's not going to continue southbound on that 405 freeway, so he's going to take the Victory Boulevard exit off the 405 south. He's just going with the flow of traffic here. It looks like he's setting up to go, that lane can go either left or right, and he's decided to go to the right. He's on Haskell now. Haskell is a north-south street that runs just parallel to the 405 freeway. It runs just on the west side of the 405. I'll pull out so you can see just what the proximity is with the freeway. CHP is now requesting that LAPD take over now that the pursuit is back on surface streets. He's getting awfully close to that other car there, so hopefully he doesn't hit him. But, oh gosh, this is going to be really close. I mean, you feel for these other drivers who are completely unsuspecting and don't realize what's going on. But they see the patrol unit, so that they know that this guy's wanted for something. Let's see if he tries to back up again like we've seen him do before. I'm going to pull out here so that we can get some of the police units in the picture as well. And yep, sure enough, he's trying to back up again. He's reversing. Turns out he's talking to the other driver in that other white vehicle that's just to his left. Unclear what he's telling him, of course. CHP would like to back out of this since it's now on surface streets. They'd like to have LAPD, which was the initial division on initial police force on scene. They'd like to have them take over as this guy continues to reverse here on Haskell. He's awfully close to that car. It's unclear what he's trying to tell him. Like, hey, move over, buddy. It's really unclear. But we do know he's talking to that other driver. And the other driver says, I want nothing to do with this. I'm out of here. And now the suspect vehicle is going to continue northbound on Haskell. We hear that LAPD is again in tracking mode, which again means that the helicopter is going to continue to watch this pursuit, and there will be no LAPD units directly behind the vehicle. They're going to keep their distance. They'll be in the area in case this guy decides to give up. They can basically just swoop in and arrest him. But for now, just for the safety of the general public, for the safety of the law enforcement personnel, they're going to back off a little bit as he continues northbound on Haskell, just passing Van Owen.
8:19 in Southern California. We have some breaking news. Mark Kono and Sky 5 HD over yet another pursuit. This one moving pretty slowly through the Sepulveda Pass. Mark.
Yeah, you bet, Frank. Here, let's do this. This is a box truck, a moving van of sorts here. No confirmation of exactly where it came from here, but this all started out of LAPD's Mission Division, believed to be somewhere on Haskell, is where this pursuit started here. Now, from what I understand from the police sources above, is that this started out as some sort of a domestic dispute, turned into a stolen vehicle, the vehicle being that van that you, or that big truck that you see moving northbound here. Now, we are moving parallel to the 405 freeway northbound along Haskell, and we've just passed Van Owen Street. We're just coming up on, say, Bassett Street, Marlin Place, Hart Street, Vose, and Galt Street here, and the driver of this van, the stolen van, is doing some pretty erratic things here. Now you see him backing up along Haskell here. The LAPD is on scene and has been for the better part of about 15 to 20 minutes at this point. This pursuit was on surface streets for a time, and then it was southbound on the 405 freeway where he encountered traffic, and so there was enough traffic that he decided it best to get off the freeway so that he could try and further this pursuit here, but he got off on Victory and turned right on Haskell, and now northbound on Haskell, just past Van Owen, and now we're in more of a semi-residential area here. Okay, no worries. Northbound on Haskell here, and again, just parallel the 405 freeway over on the west side of it. The LAPD airship is above and has been for about 10 minutes at this point, but look at this guy driving into oncoming lanes of traffic. Oh my, okay, widen out the shot, widen out the shot. Look at this. Okay, good grief, look at that. My goodness, okay. Oh, he's going to follow that guy through. Okay, no, he's not. He's going to stay along Haskell here. You see what we're dealing with here. The LAPD is in trail of him for a time. The CHP was also in pursuit while this thing was on the 405 freeway. The LAPD apparently turning this over to the CHP, but now we're back on surface streets. The LAPD has retained control of this pursuit at this point here. Now, northbound on Haskell, you saw him in the opposing lanes of traffic. There are people who are seeing this truck come at them, and they're virtually just staying still, or they're trying to get out of the way. You saw just moments ago as he was in the oncoming lanes of traffic, it looked like he was going to go head on with a couple of those vehicles. They quickly reversed out of the way, and it looked for a time that he might follow them through the intersection and try and go westbound there. But now we're coming up on Sherman Way. We're going to be coming up on Sherman Way. Widen out the shot just a touch or tilt up. There we go. That's going to be the intersection of Sherman Way where we have cross traffic ahead. So let's see what he does. It looks like he's just going to make the approach to the intersection, stick his nose out, and see if he can get through here. But apparently he's forced himself to stop there. And we have cross traffic right on Sherman Way at Haskell here. Now, if he goes through the intersection, he is going to be staying on Haskell. But it looks like if he makes a left turn westbound, now he's got cross traffic ahead that is refusing to give up on this guy. And so, okay, made that westbound turn along Sherman Way, and now we're going to be westbound Sherman Way from Haskell. Very slow-moving pursuit, but there you go. Here's a peer. Here's a look into the driver window there as he makes his way westbound, and we are essentially moving over towards Van Nuys Airport, probably no more at about 20, 25 miles an hour here. So, again, a very slow-speed pursuit here. This van not able to reach too high speeds here, but, the danger, of course, being that this being a big, heavy vehicle, the possibility of him being able to ram, any of the other vehicles. And with that said, I do understand from the air unit above that on the freeway, he was actually along the right shoulder here and actually backed up into a couple of black and white units. And so the danger there, so he's got that stacked up against him as well here. Gotcha. So, here we go. This guy's facing kind of a multitude of charges at this point, including a probable Oh my gosh. Okay, what's he going to do? He's going to go right through the intersection here. Assault with a deadly weapon here, guys. But at any rate, slow-moving westbound on Sherman Way, and we'll be coming up on Valjean here in about a quarter of a mile or so. But before that, we're going to be coming up on another major intersection here. This guy has plenty of time to work with here in that he is moving at such a slow speed. We do have LAPD units that are following him, giving him about a quarter to maybe half a block of space here. So we do have units that are in pursuit of him or who are basically trailing him. The LAPD airship right there through the center of the shot there. Great shot, guys.
Mark, if he continues on Sherman Way, you're talking about Van Nuys Airport there. The air traffic, I mean, that's a very busy municipal airport. Will you be able to continue to track this? What's going to happen there?
Well, let's see what happens here. We're already talking to the control tower here. There is traffic moving in and out of the airport here along the north runway, runway 34 left. But I can tell you that should he stay on Sherman Way actually crosses right underneath the main runways here at Van Nuys Airport. So if he crosses under Sherman Way, we should just be able to cross over the airport at that point. But, we're coming up on the intersection right now. Let's kind of see what he does here. But, we're talking about, my goodness, Sherman Way, and he's turning north. So he's essentially staying along the east side of the airport here, now turning northbound from Sherman Way.
What is that,
It
Woodley?
looked like a
spike strip.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just got him with a spike strip, so that is going to further disable the, oh, look at that. Okay, and there are trash bins in the back. Okay, so those trash bins in the back. You see those things moving around in the back of the truck there. But again, we're moving northbound from Sherman Way and just kind of making our way along what I believe to be Woodley Avenue here. Woodley Avenue northbound. And beyond Sherman Way, we'll be getting to another intersection here, and that should be about Satakoy. Yeah. So we're just kind of moving northbound here, and this guy refusing to give up. You saw him being spike stripped right there, so there is certainly the possibility that this truck could be disabled in the near future with potentially some flat tires here.
Yeah. If you're just joining us, this is a pursuit. We just joined it about 6 minutes ago in the San Fernando Valley, right near Van Nuys Airport. Began from the LAPD Mission District as a domestic dispute, became a stolen vehicle involving this truck, and now we've seen the spike strip deployed. That means that truck is somewhat disabled. You can see he's going right through intersections, not paying attention to traffic lights. A very dangerous situation with a very heavy vehicle.
And then you wonder, too, if this is a stolen vehicle like it's being, called at this point. If you jump into a big truck like that, a big moving van, I mean, it takes some time to figure out how to maneuver a truck like that. Because we're seeing all kinds of erratic movement, really hard for this person to stay in lanes. And my guess is maybe, he doesn't know how to handle a truck like this. It's slow moving, but we're now seeing speeds pick up here. What street are we on now, Mark?
We're still on Woodley Avenue here. We just passed Satakoy Street. Now we'll be coming up on Roscoe Boulevard here. So essentially still one block from Van Nuys Airport over on the east side of it here. So we're northbound on Woodley. And you see, traffic in front of him. He's got a school bus, it looks like, a school bus in front of him. And he's just going to be approaching Roscoe in about a block or so. So let's see kind of what he does here. It looks like he's kind of slowing down, speeding up, going into the opposing lanes of traffic. Very dangerous maneuvers here, especially given the fact that this is a big, heavy truck here now. It looks like that back door basically slid down, but it looks like a cargo of basically some trash bins. Don't know if they're full or not at this point, but now about half a block away from Roscoe, and he just passes that school bus taking that center median there. But again, northbound Woodley, just coming up on the intersection where he does have a red light and he does have cross traffic up ahead. Is he going to go into the intersection? This is he's going to stick his nose out again, and wow, what a dangerous deal here. Okay, northbound on Woodley, and it looks like he wants to go through the intersection here, but maybe thinking about a right turn here along Roscoe. But let's see what he does here. He's got a big rig right there. He's got several vehicles right behind the big rig that he's going to have to contend with. Hopefully he doesn't go too far in and put himself in a situation where he gets T-boned by another vehicle here, by another innocent commuter here, but remains northbound. Gets through the intersection. Took him a little bit of time, but gets through the intersection. Now northbound on Woodley, past Roscoe into the residential area. So now we'll be moving in more towards the North Hills area.
Mark, I don't know if you saw it, but it looked like LAPD tried to deploy another spike strip there. I don't think that one was successful. They did hit it earlier, and it looks to me like the driver has had some control issues with this truck. Now we see he's stopped. A lot of traffic there. Not a good situation for officers to want to subdue a suspect in a situation like this, where you have all of those, as you were saying, innocent bystanders in their vehicles. Because that creates an issue. If we've seen these things can end in gunfire. We saw it this morning, a suspect shot dead by police after a pursuit. With these many people around it, it's a and there's another school bus. Very dangerous situation.
Oh, boy, you bet it is here. Multiple school buses southbound on Woodley here, and the third one is just now passing them by. That dirt hauler, I don't know what the situation there was, but you saw him essentially nose to nose there, corner to corner with that dirt hauler. But now the suspect is continuing northbound on Woodley, and again, we're just coming up into the North Hills area here. We do further understand, and this was from the police source, that again, this started out as a domestic dispute. This rolled into a stolen vehicle. Now this pursuit, it is believed that the driver, the suspect in this case, may have some weapons, some knives of some sort, knives, multiple. We just don't know at this point, but we understand that knives might be involved here. So, yeah, an exceedingly dangerous situation here where cross traffic and oncoming traffic is being affected.
Continuing, you can see with SkyMap 7, he is on Woodley Avenue, and he is coming upon another truck in front of him. So the speeds are low because, Leslie, as you mentioned, they threw out several spike strips. He's run over spike strips already, but it's as if he's trying to get into another truck, and so now we're losing the signal. We lost it right there. Don't know.
Okay. We see him getting out. At least we saw him get out. He's running,
Can't tell him
he's got a weapon in his hand. Oh!
He's got a weapon, and he is trying, or does he? It could be a walkie-talkie.
Trying to get back in his truck.
Switch SkyMap off.
We might end up, this might be another shooting if he, nope, they did not.
Yeah.
So thankfully for our viewers at home, we're not able to see exactly what's happening. He had something in his hand, whether it was a weapon or some sort of walkie-talkie that he was trying to break out the window. He wanted to get, remember, we saw him at the dump truck, and he was we were trying to figure out why he was doing that, but he opened his door as if he was going to get out. This time he did get out and tried to get in to that other large vehicle, and now officers have him down on the ground. Amazing restraint if shots weren't fired, because that was very close proximity to each other, and that person was obviously showing no intent to surrender.
Right, and they're in close quarters here. It appears that 4 of them have surrounded him. He appears to be on the ground. We don't have a visibility of him right now, but another officer opening the truck that he was trying to get into, and we see the person who was in the driver's seat of the other truck motioning, but they are trying right now, about 5 officers trying to restrain him and bring him out of this close area and hopefully have him handcuffed, and hopefully this will be over. But it appears that he was the only one in that Penske rental truck, and you can just catch a glimpse of him right here. It did appear that he had a weapon in his hand or something in his hand and tried to knock out that window.
Well, this began about 7:25 this morning. LAPD responded to a report of a stolen Penske truck, and the pursuit was on the 405 for a short time. I was on Haskell. They did set up a spike strip, and the suspect hit that at Woodley and Sherman Way. And then, of course, that's when we picked it up after the spike strip. So he was driving a little bit more slowly than we've seen, probably because of damage to the tires. But then very, very tense moments there, certainly for the person in that Thomas truck there. I see Thomas on the roof there. Start your day happy, but that is certainly an interesting start for this person's day at 8:30 when somebody tried to break through the window. I can't really, he's being dragged out. It's not that he's being necessarily combative, but he was extremely dangerous there for a moment to any number of people. Looks like they might have less than lethal force used on him. That's what she's got. She's got a taser in her hand there with the green. So that stays connected to him. Yes. So then if he continues to be non-compliant, they can hit that again and provide another shock to him. But generally speaking, when you're hit with one of those, if you're aware of your faculties, you generally start to comply. It is
Right.
quite the jolt to your system. So now it looks like they used less than lethal force. And again, as we mentioned a moment ago, amazing restraint by the officers, because it certainly looked like he had a weapon in his hand when he hit the window of that truck.
It really did, and you can see how quickly violence can happen when you are the other driver and suddenly somebody's coming around trying to carjack your vehicle. It happened so quickly, and that person was lucky that the window was rolled up and that the suspect could not commandeer his truck.
Well, you see officers trying to identify the person. That was the wallet they were looking through there. It does not appear as if the person is in need of medical attention. It does appear as if he's down, and certainly the windy conditions there. So several officers, LAPD has this person surrounded. Again, it began as a stolen pursuit, or stolen truck. The suspect finally stopped the truck at Woodley, south of Parthenia. This is in Van Nuys. So if you're trying to commute through this area, this is Woodley, just south of Parthenia in Van Nuys. This person had tried to get into another truck, which has now been moved. You can see that other truck has been moved. So the Penske truck, which was damaged by the spike strip, he tried to get, it seemed as if he was talking or maybe had pulled in front of that tow truck to keep the tow truck from going anywhere. We kind of wondered why he was in the turn lane. So he had tried to stop that tow truck apparently, but when the tow truck started to move around him, he tried to get out. We thought maybe he was going to try to get in that tow truck. He did the same thing with that other truck, and we saw him bashing on that window.
Yeah, I thought maybe he was possibly trying to surrender, but he was probably his intent was to get into that tow truck. And they have the taser, as you can see right there. We do have confirmation that they did tase him. And it's unclear that the second truck that was in this shot, was the window up and did he try to burst the window, or did he actually hit the driver in that truck? We're going to re-rack some video to see if we can see that a little better. But right now he is down. He is under arrest. He has handcuffs on, and it looks like the threat has ended with no shots fired, fortunately.
Well, again, as you mentioned, we're trying to get the video queued up to show you exactly what happened just a few moments ago, and now we have it. You see the suspect in custody.
Scene. And the only reason that's of concern is now I'm hearing the ground units. This ground unit right now, he is dispatching the location right now. So he's calling out the speeds and the location. We're 10 westbound, approaching Central Avenue, about 75 miles per hour. Going to ask my pilot here whether or not that San Bernardino County Sheriff helicopter is still on scene if we have visual. That may be a little situation here where they're going to have to call for additional resources. Again, fuel may be an issue. The Sheriff's helicopter may have departed to get fuel, so that means we may be waiting for another agency here who can assist. So again, Ontario PD helicopters coming up on scene here in a second to assist, but we understand maybe it's the Sheriff's helicopter that had to land because I'm just hearing the ground units calling out. So again, westbound side of the 10 freeway here, we're just approaching Monte Vista. You can see right next to that blue big rig, this black vehicle pulling that trailer is the one that's stolen. We understand there are 2 occupants in this vehicle, and this pursuit's been going on a little over an hour right now, west on the 10, coming back now into LA County. That's true. Southern California freeways will always surprise you. But again, 10 westbound, you can see this vehicle right here pulling real close to it. Some of these occupants, the fact that that person has their window down, taking pictures right there. That's not a good idea. It was very apparent. They were driving right next to this vehicle and taking the opportunity there. That creates a little problem there for law enforcement officials. We're 10 westbound. You can see officers are still close behind there. We're approaching San Antonio. That's a major street that's underneath the freeway. Our next major intersection where you can exit is going to be Town Avenue. So we're right by the LA County Fairgrounds. That's the kind of proximate area. The fairgrounds are going to be to the north of us. San Bernardino Sheriff's officers are still close behind. I think these are the units out of the Rancho Cucamonga area. So again, the fact that this vehicle was taken out of the Pico Rivera area, you said, most likely right now, those dispatchers, again, we never give them credit. Those guys, ladies and men, work very hard behind the scenes. They're passing information along, most likely to the LA County Sheriffs. If this was stolen out of the Sheriff's Department jurisdiction or anywhere in that area, they are already on the phone with them, most likely getting some information. When was this car taken? In the commission of a crime, they want to know all the stories, the address of where this car was taken. So it kind of gives you an idea, okay, well, whoever stole this vehicle may be from that area. So now we're going to alert this agency. We might be having a pursuit coming into your area. It's been going on for about 70 minutes right now out of the Inland Empire, considering we're west on the 10 back into LA County. Chances are, probability, we might be seeing it get back close to the area where this vehicle was originally stolen from. Nope, they're just following this guy. There's really not much they can do right now. They're not going to do a pit maneuver, especially a vehicle with a trailer right now. If they exit the freeway, that can be a perfect opportunity. But again, the circumstances, it changes because of a trailer. I don't really see law enforcement hitting a trailer. Again, they may have trained for it. I'm unfamiliar with that particular situation. And deploying a spike strip, well, we can't really do that right now on the freeway. An opportunity where they may be able to do it is if traffic is at a standstill. But again, let's consider things. If this person is armed, last thing officers are going to do is jeopardize themselves and put themselves in front of this person by throwing out a spike strip. Sometimes they do it in the interest of the safety of the public in order to get this pursuit to an end. But right now, they don't want to agitate this person. The fact that we have speeds relatively slow, 75 miles per hour, we're not seeing any aggressive driving, swerving from lane to lane. So another thing that they hope for is, hey, you know, this has been going on for a while. Perhaps this guy's going to run out of gas. It is a truck, an SUV. Looks like we do have these kind of vehicles can travel for quite some time. They have large tanks, usually capable of carrying over 20 gallons of fuel and then some. So that's a situation where sometimes they just simply run out of gas and the suspect gives up. But right now we're in Pomona, westbound 10. You're going to see the Kellogg interchange. That's where the 10 and the 57 come together. And he is continuing west on the 10 freeway, which is going to put him now into the Villa Verde is going to be our next exit. We're going to be by Cal Poly Pomona. So that's about where we are. Westbound 10, just crossing over the Kellogg split, continuing. Next major city is going to be West Covina, so most likely officers from West Covina and the Covina's areas are going to be aware that a pursuit is coming through the area here. Just in case if it exits their streets, officers could assist. CHP, Baldwin Park Division, most likely is already aware as well. Right now, though, San Bernardino Sheriff's still the primary handling this pursuit. Yeah, I mean, San Bernardino County Sheriffs are still primary. If anybody were to change, it would be these ground units here, but these guys are still from the Rancho Cucamonga office. These guys are persistent. They want this guy, so they're going to stay really close on top of him. We do have, I believe they were calling for the Ontario Police helicopter to assist, but most likely in this situation, now we're in LA County, we may see the LA County Sheriff helicopter. News Chopper 4 right now, still the only media ship on covering this. We picked this up here coming into the San Bernardino area. Now earlier it did appear that the front windows were tinted. That is not the case. It was just a little glare right now. But again, you're talking about two individuals. Most likely those two individuals, the second one could be in the right front seat. We'll try to get a visual and see if we can see who that is. But you can see some shifting around, perhaps right now drinking some fluids. That's what that appears to be, drinking some water there. So a person is nonchalant. The last thing I'd be thinking about is drinking water if I'm evading law enforcement. So obviously this guy is cool, calm, and collective. I see body movement on the other side, both hands on the wheels. Earlier it appeared the person was talking on the phone right now, moving that left mirror there, so we're making sure we can see those law enforcement officers behind you. You betcha they haven't gone anywhere. They're still following this individual westbound on the 10 freeway. We're approaching the Kellogg Hill, so again, West Covina is going to be our next major city as we come into this pursuit here. Can you get me a little front of it? Crewell? Alex? Move me so I can look at the through the front windshield, please. I want to look in the front windshield, so get me a little in front of it. I want to see passenger. Get me on the other side. I want to see the passenger, please, if you can safely do that. Okay, well, okay, then keep it. I didn't know. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, we're 10 westbound, just passing over Citrus. I was talking to my pilot, Alex Crewell, here, trying to get on the other side. We got a little company now, so we're going to stay here. We're at News Chopper 4 is in a really good position. And again, look at the clothing description. That's something that law enforcement officers are very interested to them in case this turns into a foot bail. We've got jean shorts, black shirt, heavily tattooed. I see tattoos on both arms there. So that's the description. There we go. Movement on the front there. So we definitely have confirmation of a second person in that front seat. Still trying to see if we can get a little ahead so I can shoot to my 6, so I can try to get you a view of who's in that passenger seat. A little tricky here, kind of tight on the shot, but again, that's a situation. 2 occupants in this vehicle, 1 male driver. Hopefully we'll be able to get a little more better visual here to see the nature of the person sitting in the front seat. We can see the movement, a lot of movements right now. Driver, again, just seems pretty cool, calm, and collective. And I guess that's kind of a good thing. We're not seeing agitation, no aggressive driving. But again, still failing to pull over. This is good, Alex. Thank you. As we are trying to see the person in the left, the right front, rather, all I can see is hand movement and stuff. So we definitely do have 2 occupants in there. And again, west on the 10 freeway now. We're approaching Vincent Avenue. I'm going to put back my regular frame here. And that's the story there. Let me pull out, kind of show you. San Bernardino County Sheriffs, they're still with him right now. We've got 4 units on scene. And listening now whether or not they're going to be handing it off to CHP. Still waiting for that. But I don't hear any evidence of that as of yet. Yeah, and again, it is here. You can see they're getting a little closer, but again, considering, first of all, this vehicle was taken, it's a stolen vehicle, so you want to find out in the nature of how was it taken in the commission of a crime. Was it was a weapon used, or was it just simply parked on the street and the owners woke up and noticed their vehicle is missing? It may seem very nonchalant, but it's very important to law enforcement officers. Again, they always presume that an individual is armed until they can confirm that is not the case. They want to really come into a situation and be aware of their surroundings and not be casual and just assume that the person is not armed. So officers take all these factors into consideration. Who is that passenger? Is that passenger a willing participant, or could this passenger be somebody who was taken against his or her will? So these are all questions that officers may be trying to figure out right now. Dispatchers are notifying agencies in this area, most likely that this pursuit is coming into the area. CHP, no doubt, is aware of it. Our next major freeway is the 605. 10 westbound approaching the 605 means that it's in the Baldwin Park jurisdiction of the California Highway Patrol. We haven't seen any CHP officers. Normally, we'll see CHP officers to the right blocking traffic from getting on the freeway. That's not the case. We don't really see any evidence of that. All we know is the LA County or San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department still following this vehicle, and the fact that it was taken out of the Pico Rivera area, well, you know what? We're approaching the 605, so chances are we could transition to the 605, which will take us back to Pico Rivera. We're about 2 miles away from the 605, so only time will tell what this guy decides to do. Yeah, we're going on to the 605. Yeah, we're going on to the 605. That's why, again, you were talking about how this vehicle was taken out of the Pico Rivera area. So we assumed that if that's the case, a lot of times they go back to areas where they're familiar with. I believe we're making the transition here. Oh, this is an exit, actually. We're approaching, let me try to get this exit here. But you can see very dangerous, West Covina Parkway, I think it is, blazing through that stop sign here. So it changes now, Michael. We're on surface streets, makes it a little more dangerous, more potential to run lights, stop signs, coming up on 145. So fortunately, schools are still in session right now. We're on Garvey Avenue. I believe this is Garvey Avenue, which parallels the 10 freeway going westbound on Garvey Avenue just past Fraser. So we exited Fraser off of Garvey Avenue. So that's where we are right now. Surface streets here, going to be coming up on a turn here. So he's going to have to turn right, which will turn into Sycamore. So you can see San Bernardino County sheriffs are close behind as he turns into, look, wrong side of the road, having to kind of go wide because of that trailer. So now he's going northbound on Sycamore Avenue in the residential area. So no doubt we're in Baldwin Park. Baldwin Park PD units now, they are informed that a pursuit is in their area. You know, there's the LA County Sheriff's helicopters. We predicted they are assisting, so I'm going to try to pull up their frequency right now so I can monitor. But I know we're going northbound on Sycamore Avenue. We're north of the 10 freeway, just west of the 605. So LA County Sheriff's helicopter on scene right now. They're calling out the location, and here we come up on the stop sign, and you can see he just blows the stop sign, proceeds northbound through it on the wrong side of the road, Michael. Yeah, Michael, my mistake. We're east of the 605. I may have said west. We're east of the 605, and we've turned on Ramona. So we're going eastbound Ramona. There's the LA County Sheriff's helicopter. Eastbound Ramona from Sycamore. So we are east of the 605, south of the 210, and just north of the 10 freeway in the Baldwin Park area. You can see as he comes up on intersections here. Fortunately, he has the green light, but he did run a couple of stop signs here. So it gets a little more dangerous as we're on surface streets. And you know, San Bernardino County Sheriffs, these boys and girls, they play with a different story here. They want this guy. They're still primary, so they're confident they're going to get this person here, and most likely, in fact, definitely, they are squeezing through right shoulder there. Oh, he is trapped. That car trying to yield. Again, confusing situations for drivers. You hear all the sirens and all the commotion. We're turning southbound on the street. We'll get that street for you in a second, but it's a small street. So people will pull over to the right, and sometimes they will block the vehicle being pursued, but fortunately we didn't see any ramifications as a result of that. We're still in a residential area now. This may be a small street near Francisquito Avenue, trying to get the cross street here, coming up on the stop sign, may slowly pull through that stop sign. You can see, fortunately, he's not blazing at a crazy rate of speed. He's just kind of slowly going through, making sure that there's no cross traffic. So dispatcher right now contacting local police department. I just heard that being called out and letting that local agency know that this pursuit is in this area. I wouldn't be surprised if Baldwin Park units come up and take this pursuit over in their jurisdiction here. And we're right by a school. Again, we talked about a school. Fortunately, right now, this is Sierra Vista High School. Sierra Vista High School, considering that it's only 1:45, students are still in session, so we don't see any children or any kids out there running around coming home from school. So that can definitely change the elements of this, but we are still seeing relatively decent speeds as we pass over Francisquito. We're going westbound toward the 605, just crossing over Francisquito. Yeah, and again, it's their discretion. Here we go. We're going to probably go on the wrong side of the road because we have some slow traffic straddling the left and the right lane there. I'm trying to get the streets here. It's a little confusing in this area. All the streets are at a weird diagonal, if you see from my perspective. But we still have law enforcement officers really close behind. I believe we are going toward the 10 freeway, just blazing through that stop sign there. They didn't even slow down to check for any traffic. But again, I'm trying to see who the local agency is going to be in this area. We are in the Baldwin Park area, so most likely we're going to see those officers, LA County Sheriff's helicopter still above, and I think we're getting back towards the freeway. So there's your 10 freeway. I believe that's the Francisquito on-ramp. So there we go. We took a little detour through Baldwin Park. Good afternoon to you. And now we're getting back onto the 10 freeway, westbound 10, getting on at Baldwin Park Boulevard as we head toward the 605. And again, Michael, he could still go onto the 605. We're 10 westbound, approaching the 605 intersection here. So we may be going on to the 605 freeway here, going toward Pico Rivera. Ooh. Yeah, getting a little more information right now. San Bernardino County Sheriff's is pulling out. California Highway Patrol is now taking over. Michael, I'm getting a little more information, which really changes the elements of this situation about the driver. They're indicating that the driver is possibly a suicidal subject, or individual, I should say. I'm doing police talk. A suicidal individual, and it changes the elements of the crimes. You know, we watch these pursuits all the time, and we don't realize the mental status of some individuals there. And we're playing a Monday morning quarterback, wondering why, you know, what's this person doing, and so forth. You know, this person actually may be suffering with some type of mental disorder right now. The fact that officers are concerned that this person is suicidal. Sometimes we hear about suicide by cop, and it really puts a lot of extra pressure on these law enforcement officers, and it's going to change the elements of this pursuit. So if we have a disturbed individual right now who is suffering from some mental illness, they're going to try to find all the information they can about this individual. Chances are they may know who this person is, and the fact that they are aware that this person is suicidal, most likely they are either talking to him or a family member. But again, it's going to change the elements of how they're going to handle this situation. If a person is mentally disturbed, they are going to try to handle this very delicately, and they want to be able to bring this to a safe ending for both occupants in this vehicle. Yeah, about that right now. We're approaching Temple City Boulevard, just past Temple City Boulevard, west on the 10 freeway. And when we cover pursuits, we tend to see it's a little more dangerous on surface streets, and because you have a lot more factors, you have a lot more pedestrians, vehicle traffic, stop signs, signal lights, and it really opens the invitation for a potential for an accident where people can get injured. Now, when you're on the freeways, we're not saying it's better to be on a freeway. Of course, anytime law enforcement officers are in a pursuit, it's very dangerous. But the freeways, sometimes you can see the difference in the situation right now. We're maintaining about 75 miles per hour. We're west on the 10 freeway, approaching Rosemead, and the vehicle is traveling in the fast track lanes, I believe those are now. So it's very calm and situated here. Drivers not driving aggressively. Again, so you can see the difference when you go on surface streets there. You have a lot of elements. We just did pass that high school, Sierra Vista High School, I believe that was in Baldwin Park. I mean, it could have been a different situation if school was out and you had children crossing the street. So at least as of right now, the situation is controlled. California Highway Patrol, this is their jurisdiction. They're handling this situation. They've got San Bernardino. Oh, okay, yeah. So apparently he was involved in an assault earlier. And Michael, as we mentioned earlier, he is threatening suicide by cop. Now, whether that's just a tactic to get them to pull off, officers can't assume that, and they need to really handle the situation delicately and make sure the public is safe, but also watch out for officer safety as well. And just a horrible situation to be in, whether or not this guy is trying to do something that drastic, and these officers are going to have to keep that in mind if and when this comes, or actually when this comes to a stop. So this is going to be handled a little differently now, considering these elements now we're just hearing on the scanner. KMBC 12 NOC. Can you help me out with the IFB? It's getting a little scratchy. Are we okay on Santiago, or do you need me to switch? You're still on Santiago. Yeah, that was a CHP officer, and in fact, I'm not going to give the exact location, but they are going to do a spike strip, and they feel confident that considering the situation right now, CHP, they want to deploy a spike strip on the freeway here. So they want to try to bring this thing to an end. So you may see that happen here shortly. But again, that's the situation here west on the 10 freeway. We're coming into Alhambra right now. So we're in the Alhambra area. Fremont Avenue is going to be the next major intersection as we slow down here. You can see this vehicle here still traveling. 2 people in the vehicle west on the 10 freeway. Again, we don't know the relationship of the driver and the occupant. But what I am hearing is that this person is threatening suicide by cop. Here's some more additional East LA units now. So this is CHP East LA units coming to assist. Let me throw back to you, Michael. I got to do some technical stuff here. KMBC 12 NOC, can you help me with the IFB? It's getting really crackly now. I don't know if we're on PV, but if we can reset it, that'd be really cool to help me out. That would be lovely. Maybe PV will help me out. Thank you so kindly. And I still got my back arrow. Santiago's 291 for you, 291. Thank you, NOC. Sounds great. Sounds better. Actually, it doesn't now. Crewell, pick me up a little more speed. We're 2 behind it, please. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, wide open traffic coming into the East LA interchange. Baldwin Park units just pulled off, and East LA units are handling this right now. I'm listening to them coordinate right now. We're 10 westbound. We passed Fremont Avenue. We're in the City Terrace area. So we're 10 westbound, approaching City Terrace area. And I'm listening to this primary unit. She's talking about this vehicle about 75 miles per hour. They're trying to coordinate a spike strip. A little tricky on this freeway. But again, a CHP working here, 10 westbound approaching the East LA interchange. Right now, this pursuit originated in San Bernardino, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office out of the Rancho Cucamonga Division. We're following this pursuit. This vehicle, an alleged stolen vehicle out of the Pico Rivera office, now out of the Pico Rivera City, rather. So Rancho Cucamonga officers were pursuing this vehicle for well over an hour and a half, and just about 20 minutes ago, they handed it off to the California Highway Patrol. This is a very tricky situation here, considering the elements surrounding this pursuit. This Ford pickup truck with that trailer that's being pulled. We have 2 occupants in the vehicle right now. We know this vehicle was taken, a stolen vehicle. We don't know whether or not it was taken during the commission of a crime. We do know that the driver is believed to be armed, and the driver is threatening suicide by cop, which makes it a whole different story. Whether or not this person is suffering from some type of mental illness, it's a delicate situation. Officers need to be very careful on how they handle this, not only for themselves and the public, but also for that passenger and the driver. They want this driver to get the necessary help he needs and get this person safely into custody as we come into downtown Los Angeles. We're still on the 10 westbound, and we're going to be passing Hooper Heliport, if I'm not mistaken here. It's going to turn into the Hollywood Freeway, so we're going to be coming through the downtown slots area on the 101 freeway northbound here shortly. But again, this pursuit's going on for almost I'd say about 80 minutes right now. It's been going on for quite some time, maybe 2 hours here, but News Chopper 4 covering this here. We picked it up out of the Fontana area, and now we're coming into downtown Los Angeles here, north on the Hollywood Freeway. Michael? That is correct, but at one point, as News Chopper 4 was heading to this pursuit over on the 210 freeway through the San Bernardino area, this vehicle was traveling at about 95 miles per hour, and as a result, a couple of vehicles actually got involved in a minor collision. You can see right now he's using the right shoulder. Actually, this may be the Alameda exit here, so we're exiting the freeway here. I believe this might be the Alameda exit here off the Hollywood freeway. So again, Michael, now it's a little dangerous situation coming up on surface streets. We see we're picking up speed as we come up to a red light, slowing down, blazing through the intersection. A lot of times they'll do this and then get back onto the freeway. So we're going to see what this individual does. We're turned left, which means we're going southbound on Alameda coming into downtown, and it's a little tricky here. As long as he stays south of the buildings in downtown Los Angeles, makes it a little tricky for the police helicopter as well as for us to be able to follow it. But we are over Alameda. You can see he's going through some intersections here, waiting to see what law enforcement officers are going to do. I'm trying to monitor and seeing what they're saying, but as of right now, they're just following this individual here in downtown Los Angeles. Should be approaching First Street here. That should be First Street here. You can see that car getting out of the way. Yeah, right now, yeah, hold there, we're just doing a little work there. And again, when we get on surface streets, it changes the elements here. We have a lot more traffic, surface street traffic. We're coming up on intersections here. Whether or not the person blazes through some of these intersections, a lot of times that can create dangerous situations. A lot of pedestrians innocently crossing the street, and then all of a sudden you have a vehicle that blazes through an intersection, possibly could hit a person. So it is dangerous when we come up on surface streets here. We're southbound Alameda. We're coming on the wrong side of the road here. Wrong side of the road is traffic is stopped. No cross traffic, fortunately, no cross traffic. Continuing on Alameda, we're headed to the 10 freeway. So we're passing 6th Street, So southbound Alameda, passing 6th Street, CHP still close behind. We're in LAPD's downtown. There's LAPD right there to the bottom of your screen. They're aware that this pursuit is in their jurisdiction. However, CHP is still on scene, going right through that intersection, red light. And you can see close call, almost hit that red car. So that's why it's a lot more dangerous when we're on surface streets here. Southbound Alameda here, and you can see this vehicle is still evading law enforcement officers. And Michael, this thing's been going on for what? I'd call it about 2 hours right now, just shy of. Yeah, and in fact, we were just passing the Los Angeles Times building. Dispatch, again, great job that dispatchers do. We really don't realize all the work behind the scenes. Dispatchers are relaying information to law enforcement officers as we make a turn on the westbound street. We'll get that. Dispatchers, again, reaffirming to law enforcement officers down below, subject has indicated he has a weapon and he is threatening suicide by cop. So again, is it a tactic that he's just trying to do, or is this person suffering from some mental illness? And again, we're watching the situation, and we wonder why the person is doing what they're doing without considering mental illness could be a significant factor in this pursuit. We don't know the relationship of the driver and the passenger. That's another element law enforcement officers are going to have to consider when this vehicle stops. We're going on surface streets here, making another westbound turn right in front of the Coca-Cola truck. So we're in the heart, not too far from the Skid Row area in downtown Los Angeles. So we're by the Coca-Cola factory. If you're familiar, there's the LA County Sheriff helicopter. And look at this tight squeeze right there, going right next to that big rig. In fact, you know what? He actually just made it right by it without skidding that truck there. But a little dangerous here as we're on these surface streets here. Let me get a quick street here. We've just crossed over Central Avenue. So we're westbound, just crossing over Central Avenue here. We'll try to get you across street here, but you can see how very dangerous it is now, Michael, now that we're on these small, tight streets here in downtown Los Angeles. Right, and again, is it hearsay? Is it from a third party, or did this person actually contact law enforcement officers? Now, we keep talking about what's in that trailer. We do not know. They have not broadcasted it, but Michael, I'm pretty confident law enforcement officers have talked to the owner of the vehicle, so they may have an indication of what's in there. Maybe that could have been a reason why this vehicle was stolen due to the contents in that trailer. So we're not sure if that's related in any situation. We pass this parking structure. You'll see it coming up here in a second. This might be Los Angeles Avenue. Still trying to get to Cross Street. There's your Santa Monica Freeway. But again, officers, that's San Pedro. So he's southbound San Pedro. Now he's on 16th Street. He may be getting back on. Maybe getting back on the freeway. But look, wrong side of the road going. Actually, no, that's a one-way road. Oh, no, it isn't. Wrong side of the road there. Vehicle had to go over to the right to avoid a head-on collision. We're still not seeing fast speeds. It's a little aggressive, a little dangerous, but not too aggressive. But here we go, going on the wrong side of the road. Here's that red car. Going to have to go between the bus and the red car as we run that red light through this intersection, just passing Maple Street. And again, the Santa Monica Freeway is just to the south of you. You're on 16th Street, and we're coming toward the Staples Center. So if you're familiar with this area, we're heading toward downtown. Staples Center is just going to be in front of you. Ooh. Yeah, Carolyn, I'm sorry. Repeat that one more time. I have scanner traffic up loud. I'm sorry. Go one more time, my friend. And it makes it more dangerous right now, but possibly a little more easier if you can predict where he is going to do a pit maneuver going underneath that Santa Monica Freeway. And he's maybe trying to find an on-ramp. Washington Boulevard is going to be the next major street that goes east and west. So we'll see whether or not if he takes Washington Boulevard, and that's Washington right there. So now he's going to turn right, and he's going westbound on Washington. CHP still close behind. Some of these buildings are going to be in the way. That's a challenge that we endure as well as law enforcement officers. This street may offer an on-ramp, so he's continuing westbound. So now we're headed toward the USC area. So if you imagine this particular area, we're going towards USC, towards the 110 Harbor Freeway, and we're south of the 10. So very dangerous because we got a lot of traffic. We've got one of those metro trains there right below. So a lot of factors now as CHP is still following this vehicle very closely. Dangerous situation considering this person himself indicated that he is armed. The window appears to be rolled down right now, and the person is threatening suicide by cop, which really changes the elements of this entire situation. Yeah, it's very dangerous right now. CHP, you can see it turning off of Washington Boulevard, a little fast on that turn. CHP, in fact, we may have lost a wheel. I can't tell if that's on the, no, it's not. CHP Downtown Central Division handling this. Look, wrong side of the road. Fortunately, no traffic coming southbound, but you can see we're starting to increase some of these speeds. This is why if we see pursuits, it's a little safer on the freeways because we have less elements there. Crossing over, fortunately, we have the green light here, but still going northbound here, just passing Yosemite. That is ideal, Carolyn. In fact, that's what they want to try to do. But in order to do that in such a vast area right now, you kind of have to predict where this person is going. And most likely LAPD, they're monitoring this. We saw an LAPD unit. Most likely they're going to be set up on some intersections trying to predict exactly which way this person is going. And they may be able to try to deploy a spike strip. So now this might be, I want to say Olympic. Might be Olympic here or Venice. This is actually Venice Boulevard. So we're eastbound Venice Boulevard, headed back towards downtown LA. CHP, LA County Sheriff helicopter, and no doubt LAPD all working together to try to bring this possible suicidal subject to a stop here and bring this person into custody and get this particular individual the help that he may need. He's going northbound Craywell. We just turned on Venice Boulevard. We're going northbound. I want to say this is, I want to say Figueroa. We're just passing Staples Center here, the convention center. There's an on-ramp to the 110 freeway, so we may have that option. If he continues north and crosses over right here, you're going to get onto the freeway, but we're not. We're going to go westbound. He's coming towards us, Craywell. And again, you know what? My pilot, Alex Craywell, doing a great job maneuvering, trying to get us these best shots, which he is doing. We're coming up on this intersection here, and we're going eastbound right now, or correction, westbound. So we're north of Venice Boulevard. We're one major street north of West Venice Boulevard. Might be Jamestown Woods, but now we're turning southbound. So we're kind of going circles in the situation. Carolyn, earlier you were talking about a spike strip. Well, this might be a key possibility since we're doing circles in this area. It would be again coming in the same area. Might be a dead end. Actually, no, we're going to go underneath the 110 freeway again, going back toward the convention center. Yeah, he just had a perfect opportunity, so I don't know what his story is. He wants to stay in this area near the convention center, and that can be, again, ideal for law enforcement officers, considering we've already been in this area. There's Venice Boulevard. Now we're turning eastbound on Venice Boulevard, or actually, yeah, I think it's Venice or James Wood. Again, possibility to deploy a spike strip, but again, it is a dangerous situation. They may not want to agitate this driver. Again, whether or not this driver really is threatening to do suicide by cop, that's what law enforcement officers are being warned by. And we're turning southbound here, so leaving Pico, going southbound here, just paralleling LA Live. So that's the area. We're on Figueroa right now, southbound Figueroa from Pico, and you can see the convention center right to the right of your screen. We saw movement from the passenger, and Carolyn, we don't know the nature of the relationship between the driver and the passenger, whether or not law enforcement officers are already aware of that. So that can be another element that they need to consider. If this vehicle, as I've been mentioning, was stolen, well, how was it stolen? Was it stolen, it was parked on the street and the owner saw it just disappeared, or was it taken in the commission of a crime? Does the passenger know the driver? Is he or she being held against their will? These are all questions that law enforcement officers are asking to find out. Going northbound on a small street here. Small streets in this area sometimes come into a dead end. So we got the 110 freeway right there. In fact, I think we were here before. May have an opportunity to get on on-ramp. So again, I think this might be an on-ramp going under the freeway. And yes, so we're going to get on the 110 freeway. Is it the 110 or the 10? I get turned around sometimes, but that's the 4-level interchange, and it appears, Carolyn, this driver is opting for the North 110 freeway. Michael, you and I have been covering this for a couple of hours. We were earlier talking about afternoon traffic. Well, now it's 2:15, and we're starting to see some of that afternoon traffic here in downtown Los Angeles, north on the 110 freeway, considering he's still on the right shoulder. Is he going to stick with the freeway or get off on the next exit? Yeah, and this is downtown Los Angeles. Anybody who drives this freeway any time of the day, 24/7, you know this particular area is closed. He's going to opt for the collector lanes right here, the 2 collector lanes. That can give you the option to exit some of those streets in downtown Los Angeles. Makes it a little tricky if we go through a pursuit in downtown LA. Those buildings create a challenge, not only for us, but imagine for law enforcement helicopters keeping a visual on the suspect vehicle. A lot of times people will try to use that as a tactic to get away, but considering this pickup truck won't be able to go too fast in the downtown LA streets, I'm confident CHP is going to stay close behind. We're just passing 9th Street, continuing north on the 110 freeway, using the right shoulder. Very dangerous right shoulder that's used for an emergency roadside there off to the shoulder. Fortunately, no cars, but you can see how this truck is just making his own lane as we come up to this collector here. Next major intersection is going to be the 4-level, but I guarantee you this is what your traffic is going to look like as you get up through downtown LA. Exiting Yeah, exiting 9th here, so bear with us as we try to get this shot here. This is a little tricky. Downtown is not my favorite area. Approaching Figueroa, so good. We're turning northbound on Figueroa. That makes it a little easy for us. Figueroa, right in this area, Alex, we're continuing northbound. Alex Krewell doing a great job getting us these shots. Just gave me the thumbs up. He's aware of where it is. There it is. Figueroa is a one-way street. So fortunately, we won't have any of those elements. See, and there's the CHP, the sheriff's helicopter. He doesn't have vision right now. He's waiting till it comes past that building. Considering that it's a one-way street here, we're not going to see any potential possibilities of driving down the wrong side of the road. Figueroa is going to take us as a sideway. You can get back onto the 110 freeway, or you have an option to get onto Sunset Boulevard. So there's many options here. Not sure what this driver is going to do, but again, a very dangerous pursuit. Surface streets in downtown Los Angeles. 2 occupants in the vehicle. Not sure of the relationship, whether or not they know each other. We do know this vehicle was possibly stolen out of the Pico Rivera area, and the driver contacted law enforcement officials, indicated that he is armed and is threatening suicide by cop, which makes it an all too dangerous situation for everybody involved. Got you. I don't want to. It's going right under his crew wall. Do what you need. Yeah. Yeah, we're coming up through Chinatown here in a second here. Pilot here, again, we're just going to turn the helicopter around. We're going to get back on the 110 freeway. So now he's going to be on the 110 Pasadena Crewell. He's going to go north 110. We're going north on the 110 freeway on Figueroa. We'll get News Trapper 4 turned around here in just 1 second. Just to give you an idea, my pilot's telling me we have 7 helicopters above here. A couple of law enforcement helicopters as well. So there's a lot of traffic here. This is becoming a major story here in Los Angeles. Dodger Stadium, we're passing Elysian Park. In fact, you know what? This is a perfect opportunity. Let me see if I can see who this passenger is. We've been talking about a passenger here. But again, we're just past the 101 freeway, and I'm looking to see the body language of this passenger, whether or not if they're just kind of drinking water. So you're pretty calm there. We saw that earlier. Person was drinking water. We still don't know if that's a male or female, but we do know we're coming up into the Elysian Park area, and this is another infamous area where there's a lot of slow traffic north on the 110 freeway. The next option is going to be the 5. We can take the Golden State Freeway. The only option here would be go north on the 5. We're going to come up on some tunnels here, so you're going to lose the shot. Let's try to get to the other side if you can, Crewell. In fact, no, you're fine. Our pilot's doing a great job. Again, lose them through the tunnel here. We got 3 or 4 tunnels. Once we get past the last tunnel, that's the option where we can turn onto the 5 or continue on the 110 into Montecito Heights. Crewell, what's our fuel situation, my friend? 35 minutes. We can wait for Gil if Gil's going to take over for me. You got that, Booth? Roger. Crewell, we're going north on the 110, my friend. You got eyes on it, right? I'm good if you want to get it on the other side if you can. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, right now we are on the 110 freeway, the Pasadena portion coming into the Montecito Heights. So, you know, if we stay on the freeway, this is going to end in Pasadena. So we've got CHP units closely behind. I believe these are still central units out of downtown Los Angeles following this vehicle. We're not going to see a lot of traffic here, fortunately, on the freeway. It ends in Pasadena. But again, most likely a lot of work being done behind the scenes. Dispatch probably calling Pasadena PD to let them know a pursuit's coming into your jurisdiction. And listen, if I were a watch commander, this would be a perfect opportunity. If you want to do a spike strip where the freeway ends, that can be a perfect opportunity right there at Glen Arm. The freeway ends on the 110 at Glen Arm. That could be an area, a key moment where they can possibly deploy a spike strip. They want to bring this pursuit to a stop and then deal with this situation with this individual who is threatening suicide by cop. They can't assume that it's just a tactic to get law enforcement officers to pull off. They have to treat it very seriously, not only for their safety, but also for the safety of that passenger, anybody who can be involved, as well as the driver. They want everybody to be safe in the situation, and they want to get this driver the necessary help he may need. So we're on the 110 freeway northbound, just passing Avenue 43. Relatively light traffic. Speeds are about 70 miles per hour, maybe a little slower. I'm hearing 65 right now north on the 110 freeway. I don't think so. In fact, I'll kind of pull out. I highly doubt it. Those units, unless if these are them. Oh, no, these guys are persistent. You know what? They play to a different game. These guys are great here. They're still with it. And I mean that with all due respect. These officers are still here. They were the primary at the beginning. They want their individual. They're going to get this person. But what they're doing right now is they're letting the CHP handle this pursuit right now because this is their jurisdiction. San Bernardino Sheriff's out of the Rancho Cucamonga office. They're way out of their jurisdiction right now, so they're not familiar with these streets. So that's why they're secondary. They handed the primary off to the California Highway Patrol. Whereas if we go into a city such as Pasadena coming up, and if we start driving through the streets of Pasadena, well, most likely these officers will be met with officers from Pasadena PD, but also these CHP units are going to transition and hand it off to the officers from the Altadena unit. So we each hand it to different agencies who are familiar with a particular area. That helps them stay on top of the situation, and that way if it becomes anything where they lose the vehicle or if it's a foot pursuit, it's their backyard. These officers will know this area like the back of their hands. Once this pursuit comes to an end, this suspect will be turned over to the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department once this person is treated for any medical conditions. Now, it's going to make it a little tricky here. Again, we see law enforcement sometimes do amazing things, but right now I don't think a pit maneuver would be much of a, would be too effective. If you're going to pit this thing, I think you're going to maybe jeopardize this trailer tipping over, that's the word, tipping over that trailer, and then that can create a different problem here. So right now, their best maneuver would be a spike strip. I'm really not hearing anything on the scanner right now, so I'm going to try to find where they're chit-chatting about this. But again, earlier I did hear they wanted to deploy a spike strip over on the 10 freeway near Alhambra. They did not have that opportunity. This freeway, a small freeway, only 3 lanes coming to an end, and there's that's a CHP helicopter coming to an end in Pasadena. So whether or not we have units set up at the end of this freeway to greet this driver with a spike strip, we'll see here in a couple of minutes if he continues on this 110 freeway. He is. In fact, about 65 miles per hour is what I hear. And really, this freeway was built, one of our first freeways. Safe speeds on this freeway, even for you or I, is 55 miles per hour with all these turns. So fortunately, we're not seeing any aggressive driving. We're just crossing over Orange Grove. So this is Orange Grove in South Pasadena. Next street's going to be Fair Oaks, and then the freeway is going to end. So safe speeds right now. We're not seeing anybody else being jeopardized, but I'm curious as to what the traffic is doing with the freeway ending. We've got a red light up there, so we're not sure how far traffic's going to be backed up. So we're going to see if this driver's going to try to do any aggressive maneuvers. We'll be approaching Fair Oaks here shortly, and then taking it up towards Glen Arm, where the freeway ends in Pasadena. And most likely, dispatchers have already contacted units and from Pasadena PD to let them know we've got a pursuit coming into your area. And I'm confident that officers from the California Highway Patrol Altadena Division are standing by, ready to take over this pursuit if it goes into their area. Yeah, and we were covering this pursuit at about 1:45 when we went through Sierra Vista High School, I believe it was, in Baldwin Park. Right in front of the school, there was no students outside, which is good news. Well, school's about to get out, 2:30. We've got Blair High School. That's it right there to the right of your screen. Students may still be in session, fortunately, so we're not seeing all that additional traffic. Here's Glenarm. This is where the freeway ends. Let me just kind of zoom ahead. We don't see any spike strip or anything of that nature. We do have a red light here, so this vehicle has a red light. There is cross traffic. We do have cross traffic swerving over to the right, and just going right through that intersection. So Pasadena PD now, we know they are aware of this pursuit. This turns into Arroyo Parkway. So Arroyo Parkway, this is just a little west of Fair Oaks, one of the major thoroughways in Pasadena. We followed a pursuit in this area as well. So we've got Arroyo Parkway as we come up probably on Del Mar or California is going to be your first major intersections here in Pasadena. Yeah, he is. And in fact, a red light there just kind of went through that intersection. California Street is going to be the next major intersection. Pretty busy in this area, too, because of the train that passes through. So a lot of times we have this red light here at California Street. And you can see right now it is a red light. We've got cross traffic here. Dangerous situation. I'm going to zoom in here as we pull in. You can see he's just kind of slowly going through. Fortunately, he doesn't go at a high rate of speed. Gives these drivers time to slow down. And I guarantee you, people in this area, they know something's coming up through their neighborhood. Not only do they hear the sirens of all those law enforcement vehicles, we have about 7 helicopters above. So it's a lot of noise, a lot of commotion. People come outside to see what's going on. So fortunately, that kind of gives you a little bit of idea that something's coming into this area. Folks are slowing down, being a little extra cautious here, and hopefully we'll see units from Pasadena Police Department, whether or not they've been notified. I'm pretty confident they know this pursuit is in this area. There's Pasadena PD right now, most likely going through Del Mar. So we just blazed through Del Mar, and Colorado Boulevard is going to be our next major street. But Arroyo Parkway is going to end here. In fact, Creville, he may be slowing down. We're going to try to get to this. Yeah, it looked like he was almost stopping. We'll see. No, he's still going. We're cool here. So he's still going northbound. Colorado's going to be the major street here. But again, I think Arroyo Parkway ends on Holly Drive, which puts it very close to the Pasadena Police Station. So right now we'll see what this driver decides to do. This is Green Street. He's going past Green Street north on Arroyo Parkway. Next street's going to be Colorado here. Fortunately, we didn't see any problems at that intersection. Colorado Boulevard, a little more busy here. Got that building in our way. Wrong side of the road. He's going on the wrong side of the road. I believe he might be turning, Alex. He might be turning here, so let's see. A little hard to see right now because of the building, and he is turning. He's going westbound on Colorado Boulevard. Colorado Boulevard at Fair Oaks. So there we are, Colorado Boulevard. Creville, give me a little south. We're on Colorado Boulevard, and we're going through the heart of Old Town Pasadena. So no doubt things are real busy here. We're getting back into position here. There's Colorado Boulevard. You can see the vehicle right there. So Carolyn, now we're going to go towards Orange Grove. That's going to be the next major intersection. And in fact, we may even have an opportunity to get onto the freeway here. There's an on-ramp by Orange Grove if this driver opts for that. Yeah, he's going down a one-way street here. Forgot the name of the street here. It just parallels. That's the 710, also known as the 210 freeway. It's a one-way street here. He essentially is going back towards Del Mar. Southbound on St. John Avenue. Southbound on St. John Avenue. It's a one-way street, and this is going to dead end here at California. So he's going to have to turn right or left. We've got a school to the right of our screen here. So again, situation gets a little more dangerous now that we're getting up on the 3 o'clock hour, 2:30 here. Schools are going to start coming out, and we're going to see more pedestrian traffic. This street here, I believe, is California or Del Mar. He's having to make that left turn again. It dead ends. So we're in the area here coming up on Pasadena. 10 eastbound. No, we're good. No, I want the passenger for right now. Thank you. We're on the 210 freeway. Passenger smoking a cigarette here. I'm going to try to get a little better shot here. You can see that's the passenger. It appears to be a male from what I can see. So the passenger here, mind those over crosses there, doesn't seem to be too agitated. Maybe you are. Maybe that's why you're smoking. But serious situation here. You know, Michael, again, we've been talking about all this traffic. Well, welcome to afternoon traffic in Southern California. The 210 freeway is not going to treat you well. We're going to see some slow traffic here coming up into the around Rosemead as we're going to start seeing some slow traffic here. As we get back to our other screen here, officers from the downtown CHP, Downtown Central Division, have handed it off to California Highway Patrol in the Altadena Division. Now, again, this is another situation. This is the vehicle being pursued. Here's the California Highway Patrol. But look back here. We've got San Bernardino County Sheriffs. I saw them earlier. There they are. So they're here. So again, they are secondary, but considering now we're headed back towards San Bernardino, if we go back into their jurisdiction, these guys may say, hey, we're ready to take this over. We're coming back into our neighborhood so we can handle it. But look at all the resources being used for this situation. And this just isn't a regular pursuit, considering this individual is considering some type of violence, made a threat to himself, officers, indicated he had a weapon, and he's threatening suicide by cop. You really have to take into consideration if this person is using that just as a tactic. You can't assume it. You have to assume this person is suffering from some mental illness, and it really escalates this situation where officers are going to have to be as delicate as possible, but they also want to make sure public is safe, as well as officers, the driver, and the passenger. Yeah, sometimes we do see that. In fact, I did see a CHP officer earlier here running a traffic brake. He was slowing down some traffic there earlier. An officer was doing that. Really, nobody's going to get by. You see, they kind of have a barricade there, so nobody's going to get by. We may see officers at times block the on-ramp, as you mentioned. That's in order to minimize some of the traffic coming onto the freeway. That's going to require some additional resources. We have a lot of the officers. I think 3 o'clock sometimes is the rotating shift right now. So we may or may not see that. Not too sure with the California Highway Patrol. If they have the resources, they will. There's the driver just kind of, or the passenger rather. We're on the passenger side now because, again, we know the driver. We saw heavy tattoos on the arms, wearing jean shorts and a dark shirt. That's the clothing description. We can see this person wearing some type of camouflage, smoking a cigarette, appears to be a male. So we possibly have 2 male subjects, and we know the driver is a male and the passenger appears to be a male. We don't know the nature of the relationship, whether or not they know each other. But right now we haven't seen, Carolyn, getting back to your question, we haven't seen any of those officers block those on-ramps. You think traffic isn't all that bad. Up ahead, it looks like it does slow, getting closer to the Arcadia areas where we start seeing some of that slow traffic here on the 210. Exiting the freeway. Slowing down Crevall. It's ending. It's ending. Let's turn around. Okay, so it's going to be a delicate situation. I'm going to be careful on how much I zoom in here, considering, but I see his hands. So you know what? The hands, let's go on the driver's side. Crevall's doing a great job, both the driver and the passenger. And look at that, somebody from the back seat there. We may have somebody else, but right now, okay, right now I do see everybody's hands are out. Yeah, the keys are coming out, so I'm going to keep a tight shot there as long as I can see the driver's hands. I am not the only one who wants to see those hands. Law enforcement officers as well. Give me right pedal turn crew while I'm losing my IFB. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead. Yeah, I don't think he ran out of gas. I think he's just finally given up. And right now, you saw how he pulled his shirt up. This person, they want to make sure there's no weapons. And again, I wonder whether or not this individual was using that suicide by cop as a tactic. Again, we can't make any assumptions. But the fact, excuse me, that this individual is complying with officers' demands. We're on the 210 freeway eastbound just shy of Rosemead where all lanes are closed. We still have the passenger in the vehicle. So what they're going to do is they're going to get this driver most likely to lay down or go back to the sound of the officers' voices. They don't want this officer to turn around and face officers. They want him to back up. They do this for officer safety. They're most likely going to get this individual into custody. Then they're going to have to deal with the passenger, and they're going to do the same thing with the passenger. So as you see, he's backing up towards officers here on the freeway, and it'll just be a short moment here before they get him into handcuffs. The K9 unit is a vital resource here in case if somebody decides to run. Well, the dog is going to be released, and the dog is going to use to apprehend you. So you can see officers making contact with this first individual. They're putting the driver, this is the driver, they're putting him into custody. Fortunately, if this person really was serious about suicide by cop, we don't see anything of that happening right now. This is in the Pasadena area here on the 210 freeway eastbound, coming up on the Rosemead exit. So again, the fact that this person was making those type of threats, we're happy to see that's not the case. This person most likely, though, may be evaluated mentally and may be taken to a hospital for a 24-hour or 48-hour psych hold because of the types of threats that this individual made. Now we're going to focus on the passenger. Passenger is going to have the same situation here where this passenger is going to be told to exit the vehicle. Don't see the hands right now, but they're most likely going to wait and bring this person out and do the same thing as they did to the driver. Give me to the other side. Yeah, they are. My pilot, Alex Krewell, doing a great job maneuvering us around. So now we can focus on this passenger here. Driver's in custody, so now we'll keep an eye on this passenger. And Carolyn, great eyes there, being able to see that person unbuckling the seatbelt, going to the back seat right now. But the back seat, those windows are tinted. Officers still have to be very careful. As long as we see both those hands right now, officers do have control of the situation, but once those hands go back inside, that can create a dangerous situation. And in fact, right now they're having him exit from the front seat of the car. So again, same situation here. They're going to have him back up towards officers. Eventually, you're going to have to remove that hat to make sure nothing's underneath there. Lift up your shirt, and they're going to have him slowly back up towards officers. Same protocol as they make sure this person is safely taken into custody. It makes it easier. Yeah, great question, because they generally want you to open the door from the outside. He's lifting up his waistband right now, showing that he has no weapons. They want you to open that door from the outside so they can see your hands. If you put your hands on the inside to open the door, they don't know if you're going to retrieve a weapon or not. And Carolyn, about your question, there goes the hat as we predicted. About your question, the vehicle is still not cleared. You know, we assume, oh, there's two people in the car. Well, we're not sure until officers clear the vehicle, and neither are they. So that's why once they get this passenger into custody, you're going to see officers, possibly along with the K9, approach that vehicle. They're going to have to check not only the car itself, but they're going to have to check the trailer. So again, this is in the Pasadena area where this pursuit that lasted nearly 3 hours has come to an end in the Pasadena area on the eastbound side of the 210 at Rosemead Boulevard, where all lanes are closed. Second suspect in custody, but now they're going to have to clear the car. It does, and in fact, Yeah, and all these officers here are now dealing with this. They're checking the trailer. They're going to check the car here, make sure that the car is cleared. No other people are inside the vehicle. They're going to motion up to the air unit once everything is cleared, opening that back window, make sure that is cleared as well. They're going to try to open that trailer. Most likely, they want to clear that trailer as well. But again, Carolyn, a lot of resources are being used, not only from the California Highway Patrol. We most likely have Pasadena PD. Here we are opening that trailer there, making sure that nobody's inside, as well as San Bernardino County Sheriff. San Bernardino County Sheriff's units are still on scene, so a lot of resources here, but fortunately what could have been a very dangerous situation with an individual threatening suicide by cop, a pursuit that lasted nearly 3 hours, comes to a peaceful end here in Pasadena with both suspects now in custody. Moving supplies. Looks like housing supplies. I see clothing and stuff. So again, I was wondering whether or not somebody was moving and they used a trailer. So that's what it is. That's what all this came about. Fortunately, and again, the reason why they opened that is they wanted to make sure that nobody was hiding in there. They wanted to make sure that nobody was locked in there. So that was definitely a very safe thing to do. They didn't have the key, so they had to cut that open. But fortunately, this vehicle has been they got this vehicle, rather, everything is over to the right shoulder, retrieved is what I'm saying, and most likely what they're going to do is they're going to try to clear all these CHP units as quickly as possible, move everything off the freeway or to the right shoulder so they can reopen those lanes, but very happy that everything came to a safe, peaceful ending here on the 210 freeway in Pasadena, and now the interview begins. They're going to interview that passenger, who's that person right there, try to find out the nature of the relationship with the driver, whether or not he knows him, but the investigation's continuing, and that's the driver now who has been taken into custody.